Hey loves, welcome back to my YouTube channel. On my very first tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this very cute crop cardigan sweater. I'm hoping that this video is going to be beneficial to you guys. Please don't forget to like, comment and share, and please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And without further ado, let's get straight to the video. So guys, since it's a two-colored cardigan, I'm going to be using color orange and color black, which is my favorite color for this project. And at the end of the video, I'll be telling you guys how many balls of yarn I used to make this cardigan. Here I have 2 balls of yarn, a tape measure, a crochet hook and a pair of scissors. The color orange yarn I used Robin, which is 100% acrylic, and it is a 50-gram weight yarn. I'm hoping you can see. The black one, I'm going to be using butterfly since I like the way their black is dark compared to the Robin one, and it is also a 50-gram weight yarn. I'm going to begin with the back panel since I feel it takes a lot of time compared to the front panel, but their measurements are basically the same thing, only that the front panel is going to be split into 2 parts. I'm going to start with the slip knot and do a number of chains that measure up to 4.5 inches on my tape measure. So if you're using a 50-gram weight yarn like the one I'm using, you're supposed to do a number of chains that add up to 4.5 inches on your tape measure. But if you're using a different type of weight yarn, I'm not sure of the number of chains you're supposed to make, but I feel it's according to your preference. So I'm going to do the number of chains that measure up to 4.5 inches on my tape measure. Then we're going to continue from there. After ensuring your number of chains measures up to 4.5 inches on your tape measure, chain an extra 2 inches and turn your work, and on the third chain enter with the half double crochet and continue like that until the last chain, and that will be row 1. So this is row 1, and for our waistband to have that elastic feel, we're going to work on all the back loops of row 1. So you're going to chain 2, turn your work, and on the first back loop do a half double crochet. So you're going to repeat this pattern. You're going to do half double crochets on all the back loops of row 1 until you reach the last stitch. I'm done with the number of rows I wanted. I wanted them to measure up to 9.5 inches on my tape measure, and as you can see, the band has started to get that elastic feel that I wanted. And at this point, I now want to join the black yarn to the elastic band, because now the cardigan is in 2 colors. You're going to add the black yarn onto your last half double crochet of your last row, chain 2, turn your work, and continue with the same pattern. That is, on the first stitch, enter into the back loop with the half double crochet and continue with the same pattern until you reach the end of that row. Then chain 2, turn your work, continue with the same pattern until you finish the number of rows you wanted. And since the orange yarn I measured 9.5 inches, that means the black yarn is also supposed to be 9.5 inches. At this point, I'm done with the rows of the black yarn, and I'm going to measure to ensure that it measures up to 9.5 inches, just like the rows of the orange yarn. We are now going to work on the upper part of the back panel of our sweater, and I'm going to begin with a single crochet. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, and on the very first open space I'm going to enter with a single crochet until I reach the end of the black yarn. Then I'm going to connect the orange yarn and work on the orange part until I reach the last space or the last stitch. We are at the end of the orange part, that is row 1. Now we are working on row 2, where we are going to be doing an increase. You're going to chain 1, turn your work, and onto the very first stitch enter with 2 double crochets, and on the next stitch enter with 1 double crochet. On the next stitch enter with 2 double crochets. On the next stitch enter with 1 double crochet. So basically that is the pattern. There you are going to be doing 2 double crochets on the same stitch, 1 double crochet on one stitch, 2 double crochets on the same stitch, 1 double crochet on one stitch. That's it. When you reach the part of the black yarn, reconnect the black yarn and continue with the same pattern that you are following on the orange yarn until you reach the end of row 2. On the third yarn, you're also going to continue with the increase pattern that you are using on the second row, and on the fourth row, now you're not going to follow the increase pattern. You're going to do half double crochets onto every stitch until you reach the end of the row. So you're going to do half double crochets until you get the number of rows that you want. I did a total of 31 rows since my cardigan is a crop one. So you can do the one that you prefer. If you feel it's too short, then you can increase the number of rows. If you feel it is too long, then you can decrease the number of rows that you want. I went ahead and worked on the front panel and the sleeve of the orange yarn, but I'm going to be showing you guys how I did it while using the black yarn. After I finish working on my sweater, I'm going to find a way on how I'm going to hide the yarn, this yarn, excess yarn that I've been cutting while reconnecting the yarn. While working on the front panel, you're going to repeat what you did on the back panel, where you're going to start with the elastic band. You're working with half double crochets on every back loop of every stitch. After finishing with the elastic band, you're going to work on the upper part of the front panel, where you're going to be doing an increase. But on the first row, you will start with a single crochet, where you're going to be doing single crochets on every open space until the last row. And on the second row, you're going to chain 1, and on the very first stitch enter with 2 double crochets. On the next stitch enter with 1 double crochet. On the next stitch enter with 2 double crochets. So basically it is just a repeat of the increase that you are doing on the back panel. So you're going to increase the second row and the third row, and on the fourth row, that is where you're going to stop the increase. And you're going to do a total of 31 rows, just like the ones you did while doing the back panel. At this point, we are working on the shoulder part of the sweater, where you're going to take your front panel and your back panel and connect the upper part. We are going to be using single crochet to do the connection of the front panel and the back panel. Then proceed to connect the lower part of your sweater, that is the front panel and the back panel of your sweater, and ensure that you leave a space for your sleeve, that is enough space for your sleeve, but also ensure that you measure the other side of your sweater so that it may be equal with this other side of your sweater. After confirming the measurements, now you may proceed connecting the two parts using single crochet. Now you may proceed on working on the sleeves, and on the first row we are going to be working with single crochets, where you're going to enter on every open stitch with a single crochet until you reach the end of that row, where you're going to connect the two ends with a slip knot. Then on row 2 you chain 1, turn your work, and on the very first stitch enter with a double crochet. So you're going to enter with double crochets on every open stitch until you reach the end of that row and connect with a slip knot. So you're going to repeat this pattern on every row until you reach the number of rows that you want. That depends on the length of the sleeve that you want. I'm now done doing the number of rows that I want on my sleeve. Now I'm proceeding to making the wrist for my sleeve, where I'm going to chain a number of rows that add up to 5 inches on my tape measure. Then chain an extra 2 chains, turn my work, and on the third stitch I'm going to enter with a half double crochet, just like we were doing while making the band for our sweater, the waistband that is for our sweater. Then I'm going to continue doing that, continue doing half double crochets on every stitch until I reach my sleeve. That is, I'm going to go downwards. Then I'll connect it to my sleeve with a slip knot. I'm going to do 3 slip knots, then continue with half double crochets on every back loop going upwards, and I'm going to continue this pattern until I do a number of rows that come to reconnect with the first row that I did. I'm done with the sleeve, and now I'm doing a band. I'm making a very simple band, which is 2 double crochets on the front panel, that is the lower part of the front panel, up to the shoulder, round the neck, and then downwards to the other front panel.